Welcome back to the Respect and another edition of Raw Out of 10. And yeah, of course, it's just 5 days away from the first ever two-night SummerSlam. Punk and Gunther wiped up the hype for their match with a face-off. Roman Reigns was in the house, and we also got some legends involved in a women's match. So without further ado, let's kick things off. And we started with another tribute to Hulk Hogan before Jey Uso hit the ring. Before Uso could address the crowd in Detroit, though, Paul Heyman interrupted. Family is always going to let you down. Family is always going to get you in trouble. Trust the Oracle. That's not a prediction. That's a prophecy. Heyman will do so ahead of Saturday's match, in which he will team with Roman against Bronson and Braun. Heyman masks several instances of Uso's family letting him down. Jey Uso, I love you, he said before adding, just like your family. You leached onto my family, where the hell are you all at? Uso asked before putting an exclamation point on the segment by claiming him and Reigns ahead of the SummerSlam to beat Reed and Breaker. I thought this was a really good opening promo. Heyman's a master of this, and it played off really well. So yeah, good stuff. Moving on to AJ Styles and the Kabuki Warriors teaming up to take on the Judgment Day. And of course, Styles will face off against Dom. And yeah, the Phenomenal One partnered with the Kabuki Warriors. It was a bit of an couple tag team. But yeah, the Heels seized control of the match ahead of the first commercial break, with Rodriguez taking down Kairi Sane at ringside. The tag team champions worked her over, cutting the Pirate Princess off from her corner. Several false starts eventually led to her attacking Styles, who exploded into the match. Styles teed off Mysterio, and when Perez attempted to step in front of the IC champ, the Phenomenal One proceeded to launch Sane over the top rope and onto her, and Rodriguez neutralised them. Back in the ring, a P1 from Styles put Mysterio down and built momentum for the Hall of Famer. And yeah, I thought it was a fun match, and a bit of a non-couple match that you don't normally see, but I thought it worked really nicely, built towards it nicely, and probably good for Styles to get a win. 7 out of 10. Before moving on then to Sheamus and Grayson Waller, who of course had a backstage confrontation earlier in the day. Things went as expected, with the Celtic Warrior absorbing everything Waller threw in before delivering a jumping in and delivering 10 beats to the battering. Rusev attempted to influence the outcome, but Sheamus caught it with Waller with a brogue kick, and he scored the win. The Bulgarian Brute got the best of his rival, leaving in line following the accolade. I mean, it's just building up to the next Sheamus Rusev match. Hopefully we get it next week. But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot more to it. 5 out of 10. Before in our final opportunity to address WWE Universe before challenging for the IC title, Lyra Valkyria claiming Becky Lynch will have to beat the life out of her on Saturday. The man attempted a sneak attack, but Valkyria cut her off and proceeded to punish her with blast and kendo sticks to her body. The former champ stood tall to close out the segment. Afterwards, a pre-taped interview that started as a sit-down between Graves and Zayn then evolved into a tense face-to-face involving Cross. So yeah, Zayn promised if he loses, he will say whatever Cross wants him, but Cross will have to look in Zayn's eyes and tell him he was wrong if the heel was losers. Intriguing. As we then got on to Naomi, who partnered with Chelsea Green, Piper Niven and Alba Fyre to take on Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Nikki Bella and Stephanie Vaquero in an 8-woman tag match, an all-star team there. And the Heels twice cut their opponents off and their partners, first with Bella and then with Sky, but couldn't put either woman away. A hot tag from the genius of the Sky to Vaquero then sparked the babyface comeback that saw La Primera deliver her devil's kiss to Green and ultimately scored the win with the SVB. The babyfaces stood tall to close out the segment. I think, yeah, this was really about putting Vaquero over, and it did it very successfully. It's also fun to guys with Nikki back in the ring again. So yeah, 7 out of 10. We then moved on to the tag team championship match, LWA versus the Judgment Day. The Heels worked over well for a large portion of the match, but got a hot tag to Del Toro, which ignited the babyfaces and had them rolling late. With the chance of "This is awesome" raining down from the crowd, the challengers took the fight to the air as they pursued the tag team titles. A late appearance by El Grande Americano and a second masked individual ultimately proved too much for the challengers to overcome, though, allowing the Judgment Day to retain. I'm very intrigued by the second character. That's kind of what I was most interested in, and yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing where it goes. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Before CM Punk and Gunther had a face-to-face in the middle of the ring, I liked the voice of the voiceless, speechless Gunther said of his confrontation with Punk last week, seconds before the former WWE champion interrupted. The straight edge superstar responded on the ring general, telling him it dawned on him he doesn't want to be the world champion, he needs to be champ. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, but I understand addiction, Punk stated, because this is my addiction. You're right, I don't deserve to call myself the best in the world, I've earned it, the number one contender says. When Gunther tried to shut down the Red Hot Punk, the future Hall of Famer told him he will be competing and he was going to win the title. And yeah, a red hot promo, fired up Punk really worked well. Gunther ties into it nicely. Yeah, just a great little promo. Before the main event, Jey Uso and Bronson Reed meet for the second time in the last few months, just 5 days before a blockbuster tag match, pitting them Uso and Roman against Reed and Breaker. Reed overwhelmed Uso with his power and size advantages. Babyface's mounted a late match comeback. Bron Breaker came from out of nowhere with a spear to draw the DQ. Post-match beatdown of Uso had the fans chanting OTC and Reigns obliged, hitting hitting the ring to make the save for his cousin. Breaker moved down the OTC with a spirit ringside though, and ensured that the OG Bloodline members did not stand tall. He levelled Reigns, sending him over an announce table while Reed unleashed a tsunami on Uso. He added one to Reigns before Breaker mocked one of the Tribal Chief's most famous promos, declaring everyone worked for him now. The heels stood still to close the show after a devastating spear through the timekeeper position that helped to build heat ahead of this weekend's PLE. So yeah, I'm going to a 6 out of 10. Worked really well. I thought the Reigns spot was really good. That kind of put the heels over more, and it was a decent little match too. So yeah, on the whole, 6 out of 10 from me. Overall, Raw this week, that's a 6 out of 10 from me. I thought, yeah, this was a really solid episode of Raw to conclude the build to SummerSlam, if you like. There were some really good bits on there. I think really good stories throughout, to be honest. I thought, just in general, it was a very solid show. And yeah, I'd have to say I am more hyped going into SummerSlam now than I was before the show. So yeah, in the whole, it's definitely worked. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on our socials. Link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.